Hi, everybody. If you're 45 or older, talk to your doctor, schedule colonoscopy. I know that sun's bright. We are calling the local law enforcement at the moment to tell them we are about ready to light our fire. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, you can see a little bit. What? Yeah, halfway. Then I got a Gatorade. Thing's a hard light. What's going on, Neil? One more quarter. How you doing? Been waiting a couple years to light that thing. But like the top third of it or a little more than that is all that ash tree that was right over here the other day. So that's all the brush. And then if you look over here, that should be my wood pile over there. I don't know if you can see it or not. It goes beyond that bush here. Or let's see, right? It goes beyond this bush here and around the corner over here. That's where the big stuff is, around the backside of that bush. Can everybody hear me today? Galaxy, how you doing, man? Nice job on that trivia game this morning. Everybody was lighting it up today. I was on Wi-Fi from out in the garage, and there's a bunch of metal there. Oh, let's see. Oh. Yeah, I'm surprised that's going as good as it is now, because it sure was hard to light. Could have waited till dark, but whatever. Get it over with. There's no wind right now, so we were pretty good. Hope everybody's doing all right tonight. Hope you got something to smoke on. I'm exhausted. I planted 32 tomato plants, 2 eggplant. What was it? 40 some pepper plants. Compost teed everything. A few other things. Oh man. So I don't know how long this thing is gonna burn. We have the permit till Thursday morning at 8 o'clock is when this has to be done burnt. So I have to put it out by then, but right now it'll burn down. We've burned this thing several times over the years. It'll burn down pretty quickly, and then the green stuff is all that's going to be left, and I'll pile that up in the middle, and then we'll pile our leaves and grass clippings that are left over. I'm going to use a lot of it in the garden, but anything that's left over from this year will go on the pile, and so on and so forth. It's the way it's been going for 43 years. Sheesh. When we moved here back in the day, that was the apparently the refuse pile from when the bank foreclosed on the former owners. They used the dirt from the backyard, dug a hole, filled in the front part of the house with black dirt. That's what we're in, black dirt here, like peat. Filled around the house with that, and then with the hole that was left, they filled it with all the furniture and old clothes that were left over and shit, and freaking, I guess they lit the sucker on fire. I was unaware of it until, I don't know, a few years into us moving here, and we were trying to level that area off, and all of a sudden we're coming up with hunks of shit, and that's pretty much what we figured was the case, because they had to have gotten that dirt from somewhere. Oh man, I'm beat. I'm glad that thing's going as well as it is, but you can see the skeleton that's left there is all the new stuff from that ash tree. Half of it was dead, but half was still alive. Anybody bring marshmallows? Ugh. Yeah, I don't know what. That was pretty tall and pretty wide. Ugh. Sheesh. I'm whooped. Ouch. Well, I'm glad the sun isn't blocking it out too much. Whatever. What's everybody got going on today? I started soaking my. So I've got some cantaloupe that I'm gonna start. Um, what else? Oh, and some zucchini. And then all I have left is probably 300 corn, probably to plant. Cucumbers are doing well. The squash is doing well. Uh, I haven't seen any sign of pumpkins yet, but they've only been in the soil for, I don't know, 4 days or something like that. Oh, sheesh. We're light dipping a plant out there. Uh, I don't think, now that I look at it, I don't think my tarp was as completely light blocking as I thought it might be. But it is definitely a different form than the other ones that are right out in the natural sunlight, which this one's in natural sunlight. I'm just taking it and putting it in a light deprivation chamber, basically, at 5 o'clock every night. Sometimes 4:30, somewhere around there, depending on when I get home. But it's definitely showing signs. It did a little stretch, and now it's flowering, from what I can tell. Starting to see buttons on it, kind of. Shoot, I think I sunburnt my face today. My cheeks hurt, or it's from the fire. I don't know, one of the two. Oh, I'm glad to get this burnt, man. It was hard to keep piling shit on top there. Tried doing a few autos this year, but they didn't. They kept getting stunted from the cold. I think I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Even in the basement, it was too cold down there. I might throw a couple in the ground after I'm done flowering this white widow I have right now. Oh shoot! It would have been more spectacular if I would have done it at night, but I didn't know if I was going to make it in the night. I just had a coffee and I still feel like I'm going to sleep. Oh, trying to think of what all is in there. That ash tree for sure. Oh, there we go. That bursted a little bit. The ash tree for sure. There's some of this elm in there. There's an elm that is hanging over the top of our shed. And I think it was last summer I took some of that down. Um, Trimmings off of the apple tree. We had to hook up the city sewer around here a couple years ago, and had to cut down half of our apple tree basically. So there's a good chunk of apple tree on there. Boy, the bugs are out tonight. I can tell you that. Phew. Oh. Oh. There's a little bit of buckthorn on there. A lot of leaves, a lot of grass clippings. About it. There's a bunch of thistle and a bunch of itchweed. There was a mullein, a small mullein, about, I don't know, this high and about that big around. We've got all kinds of beneficial stuff around here. Milkweed, There's a whole field of goldenrod next door. The backyard here is dandelion, Dutch white clover, and regular green grass. And that's where I decided to get the rabbit shit and the deer shit. Our backyard is so green. That's what our fertilizer is deer shit and rabbit shit. So, I'm not going to keep it all, but yeah. Oh, shoot. I think my eyelids are sunburnt too. I was out all day yesterday and today. Half the day, the day before that, half the day. Cut that tree down, cut it up the next day. Next day, cut the base into pieces, hauled everything the following day. I don't remember if that was yesterday or the day before. Must have been yesterday. And now, today we're burning most of it. One bad thing about my wood pile over there, the only good wood ready to burn is under the deepest pile of new stuff that's not ready to burn. So I have to go out into the woods and bring back some stuff that's burnable. And then usually I'll throw some of this partly dry stuff on there and it'll go. Talking about in my barrel stove here where I make my biochar and stuff. Yep. There'll be a pile when it's done, but it'll all be in the center of there. Criminy, you couldn't hardly see through the backyard because of the tree here. There's willow tree here, and then that pile. And man, we got a big deer. Now, last year, all throughout the season, and then for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been tracking this buck in our yard, and he was these huge tracks. 4 years ago, he was like a 6 pointer. Last fall, right after deer season, uh, it got hit by a car out here, and I have a buddy that hunts out back. That's where I get my wood from, my oak. Um, Anyways, the offspring of that deer, I saw it the other day, and this time of year they're still in velvet and their horns are just barely popping up. But this one had horns thicker than my thumb right now, with knobs on the top, so you could tell where it was spreading out. So if it was, I'm guessing by the size of his body too, I'm guessing it was probably like a 4 or a 6 point last year. So I'm looking for an 8 pointer bigger this year to be in the yard. And right now I've seen him twice. So, oh, he's a big boy. I don't hunt myself, but I like to see people around here catch some game from this area. I used to hunt. Saw one of the two biggest deer in my life in this backyard while I was while I was building a deer stand. Other biggest deer in my life I saw was just down the road from here at our old place, and it was before I was able to hunt. The legal hunting age here, I believe, at the time was 12, and I was not old enough to hunt, but I was up in a tree stand during the hunting season while my uncle was out in a tree hunting deer. and this big sucker came out. Man, it was a 12 pointer too. That was my first biggest deer I've ever seen. Oh, well, I'm guessing this is about. Oh yeah, I wasn't lying about the size. No, this thing was that was the size of a small house. I was dwarfed by that sucker. There's no doubt about that. Oh. Once you get her started, there's no way you're able to cook anything on it either. This thing's like 1,000 degrees sitting by it. I had to get away from it. I couldn't see anymore because of the sweat rolling in my eyes. But since we did today, tomorrow I'll kind of consolidate everything in another pile and light her again. But this time it'll be a small one. We won't have to call it in or nothing. Can't remember the last time we lit it though. It's got to be 4 years or more. Usually we have a lot more leaves and grass clippings, and it'll smolder for a long time. But I've been using them in the garden, so there's a lot less of that. Just a lot of wood. And it'll grow back greener than ever there. Good source of potassium, as long as you know that it's good and clean, and you don't let water get to it. So don't let it get rained on right now. But if it was to go to completely to ash, you knew that there wasn't no contaminants in it. Take that ash and you can spread it all over your garden. Typically do it in the fall. Uh, I'll use some in my top dressings and then put a little bit in my compost teas. Uh, kind of dial in the microbes to the specific forms of nutrients that I have in my mounds. It's basically what I'm doing with my compost teas. Anything I'm using for a nutrient, I'm using a little bit in my compost tea, my activated aerated compost tea. The compost teas I'm using for foliar and water drenching application for inoculating the mostly the tips of the plants. Give it a good microbial force to block off any pathogens. Do that every week or so. I maybe try to do it twice in a week. Um, my compost teas run for 3 days and then four, possibly if I don't quite get to them, because of weather or whatever. That way, the new growth over at least part of the week will be inoculated. And then I use my fermented plant juices as a drench, mix 20 to 1 roughly. And I use, like I said, I have the dandelions, uh, Dutch clover, and grass clippings. So the bottom underside of the lawnmower, I use all that stuff that sticks to the mower deck, and that's what I'll make my fermented plant juices out of, for the most part. Fermented fruit juice, I usually use like pumpkin and squash and stuff like that. Flower buds off of plants and trees. Then I got my dialed in wild rabbit crap and wild deer crap. The philosophy with the wild deer crap is that I collect it in the winter when the deer are only eating the tips of the trees around here and brushes and shrubs and stuff like that. And the tips are where the buds are when the plant starts forming in the spring. So if they're eating those tips, they're getting the phosphorus from that stuff. So I'm using deer crap that's dialed in with phosphorus, I'm assuming, and using that sparingly going into flower and into flower. Oh, anyways, my neck, I can hardly move it anymore, so I'm going to sign off, people. Appreciate you. Love y'all. Oh, man, yeah, I can hardly move now. I shouldn't have sat still. Oh, I know.